What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be covering a topic that is extremely personal to me, dating all the way back to my very first flight. And that topic is going to be, why can't we fly paramotors in the middle of the day? Well, let's go ahead and get up into the air and talk about this.
Alright guys, we are up in the air. It's a little bumpy yet. It's actually a tad bit windy this evening. I think it's a little stronger than what they were calling for. So I've been wanting to talk about this topic for quite a while. I've had a lot of people reach out to me and kind of ask the same question too, and it's something that really needs to be talked about, especially amongst all the new pilots. And this specific topic hits home to me because I did this exact thing when I was brand new, and it can actually be pretty dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. So the topic for today is, why can we not fly paramotors in the middle of the day? It's pretty simple, yet a little bit complex at the same time. So generally speaking, in the mornings about 2 hours after sunrise, and in the evenings about 2 hours before sunset, there's these things called thermals, and they're fairly non-existent in the early morning and the late evening. And for those of you that don't know what a thermal is, when the sun heats the ground, it's an invisible column of air that rises off the ground. And if you're flying this paramotor and you hit a thermal, it's going to whack you around like crazy, and you're going to feel lift and all of a sudden sink once it throws you out of the other side of it. Now, as paramotor pilots, we have motors on our back, and that's what we use for our lift. So we're always looking for the smoothest air to fly. As a paraglider pilot, they often seek out thermals to keep them up in the air longer. That's a whole different form of flying, and that's a whole other topic to get into. And when I say the word can't fly in the middle of the day, it's not that it's impossible, it's something left for a more advanced pilot to do. You need to be going up on an A or B rated wing. You need to have at least one reserve on you at all times. Also, when you're flying in real active thermally air, you got to know and understand how to active pilot your wing. So when you come into a thermal and it starts giving you a lot of lift, you go hands up, and then you got to get ready for that surge when it shoots you out of the backside. Once it throws you out of the backside of it and you get that surge, you want to grab your brakes and stomp them. Keep the wing from overshooting you. Active piloting is a good skill to learn. However, it just turns into a lot more work than fun. As paramotor pilots, we're out here to enjoy our flights and have a good time in nice, smooth air. So I'll go ahead and tell my story and why this is so personal to me. Back when I first started getting into this sport, or looking into it, YouTube was kind of a newer thing, and there really wasn't much out there on it. And I actually started on a powered parachute, not a paramotor. The powered parachute it's basically like a big three-wheeled trike, and it had 2 seats on it. I actually got on Craigslist and I was scrolling, and I found this thing pretty close to home. It was about 40 minutes away. And this old retired firefighter had it. And I showed up at his house, and he said he hadn't flown it in years. He sold me that thing with the wing and the trailer for like $1,000. Thing had been sitting for years. It didn't run, so when I got it, I tore down the motor and cleaned everything up, got the parts necessary to get it fixed, and I taxied around on the trike for, I don't know, 2 or 3 days. And like I said, I really didn't even watch any videos on it. I had no idea what I was doing. Complete self-taught, which is not smart at all. Finally, I went out to a airport that was not very busy, just a little grass strip up in northern Indiana. Actually, Bluffton, Indiana, if any of you guys know where that's at. I laid the wing out, and I had my brothers and a few other guys out there watching me. And I thought to myself, how hard can this actually be? And I just went to full throttle. The wing started to come up, and then it hit the ground, and came up and hit the ground. So finally, with the help of my brothers, they kind of helped the wing up, and I gave it full throttle and I took off. Now keep in mind, this was around the 4th of July holiday, the middle of summer, at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was really windy. Like I said, I had no clue what I was doing. I had no training on weather, no training on flying, nothing. I was successful at getting into the air, and then once I was in the air, I was just getting thrown around like a rag doll. So I pretty much accepted at that moment in time that my life was over. I wasn't going to be able to land. I was just going to fall out of the sky. It was a really stressful moment, and a really stupid moment, if you ask me. That wasn't bad enough. I finally turned around. I was going to bring it in for a landing, and I was coming in downwind. I just didn't know any better. And I was coming up over top some trees, and I had a motor out. So I basically had the worst luck you could possibly have, and it was on my first flight ever, with no training. Barely cleared the tree, landed in a bean field. I did come down safely, thank God. And after that, I ended up selling that thing. And I looked into paramotors, and I went and actually got proper training from Midwest Power Paragliding in Franklin, Indiana, with Dave Halcomb, which I strongly recommend, and I always have. That's just a little backstory for some of you guys that I've never told that story before, and you guys just know a little bit of background on me. My first flight was completely self-taught, and I do not recommend that at all. These paramotors and power parachutes and stuff, they are fairly easy to fly, and they're fairly safe. But your life's worth so much more than $2,500, $3,500, whatever the cost of training is nowadays. You're just better off going and getting it done. That way you have peace of mind. So in summary, guys, if you've been flying for a little while and you're considering flying midday, make sure to take it really slow. Fly with some experienced guys. Make sure you're on an A or a B rated wing. Make sure you have a reserve, and make sure that you've got plenty of altitude to throw that reserve if you ever have to. And if you're a guy that has not touched one of these motors or wings yet and you're just looking into getting into the sport, there's your quick and dirty explanation on why you shouldn't fly midday, and also why you should get proper training. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. As always, blue skies, fly safe, and I'll see you on the next one.